Hello, Ashley. How you doing? I've got your work and your paper up. Now, one first thing I notice here is that the paper hasn't been updated. So basically, it looks like you've just compiled your first written rationale for each of the milestone tasks, and that's not really what this is a compilation of the work that should directly reflect the final piece. So there's some areas in here that haven't been updated. For example, the Dali surrealistic piece, surrealism. Here you don't describe the piece that you're using here. You've never identified that piece, so it's not in here. And so that's going to be a problem. Don't forget your written rationale should reflect the paper. I'm sorry, should reflect the work that you're submitting. Another thing I noticed is, over here, you're still talking about using artwork from Shigeo Fukuda. However, you are clearly using a Memphis piece on the cover, so that writing hasn't been updated. All right, so definitely make sure, and you'll want to keep all of your work cited at the end of the paper. So just to make sure that this is one paper and not a compilation of written works. Hope that makes sense. If not, let me know. I'll see if I can clarify that. I will be checking that on the final though, and I'm letting all the students know that your paper really should be updated to reflect the updated work. Okay, let's take a look at the piece. This is, I love the cover, I do. A couple of things I would recommend is I would not center your type. Centering type it's really not a good practice at all. So I wouldn't center it here or here. I'd left align it. I don't think you need to color those. I think they're drawing too much attention to the numbers, and away from the words. I would keep those all the same. Matter of fact, you could probably keep this quote right there, or you could present it in black and move it somewhere, maybe down there. Maybe take that D, align it. I don't know. It's okay. I just think of right in the middle as there's a more interesting place. As we know from basic visual communications, there's more interesting things than centered placement and centered alignment. So that's why I recommend doing neither here. Don't center a line and don't place it in the center of the composition. Let's move along to the next piece. This piece, look, there's something going on with this spread that are indicating something that I think that as an experienced designer, I'm seeing something, and I think that anybody who's going to review your portfolio will see the same thing. Right now, you're filling in these spaces right here because you haven't figured out how to fit this image into this given space. And it's really obvious. And here's another example here. Since you can't fit this in, you've just placed it here with a white frame, and then you've got black over here. And it looks like you're trying to force that into the composition, and it's not working. Feel free to crop, okay? Feel free to crop. We are taking liberties with this this project, so feel free to crop. In other words, what you could do here is set your crop to 12 by 9 and crop something like that. And use that for your whole page, your whole background page. That way you won't have this sidebar here that kind of separates the page and the idea. And you have this big kind of yin-yang thing down here that just does not fit with the piece. I think I mentioned that before. The curves are okay because they mimic the curves of the female form, but it just looks too forced. And this does too. So for example, over here on this piece, you could take this piece, set your crop to 12 by 9, and crop it something like that. Do you have to use the whole piece? No, take some liberties. Set your quote right there or right there, and you are in business. Over here, I'd keep the quote one color. There's no reason to buy a red, white, and blue quote when there's no red, white, and blue in the piece. Do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't really stack up. So theoretically and conceptually, I would just keep it white. Or recompose once you crop that to your 12 by 9 and place it in there accordingly. Okay, another thing I'm noticing is that you're not hanging your quotes. Okay, here, this is center aligned again, and you're doing a lot of center alignment. You have center aligned here. This type right here is so big, it's competing with the actual quote itself. I would rethink that. Quote, the name of the person who owns the quote should not ever be as big as the quote itself. It should always be presented much smaller. It's good that you differentiated the typeface, because that way at least we know that it's not part of the quote. Okay. Over here, the same thing. That looks good. See, that looks good. See how tiny it is down there? It's not interfering with the quote at all. But we can't really say the same thing over here. Okay, this piece looks great. You're not hanging your quotes, though. See that quote right there? This is left-aligned type. That quotation mark should hang off the left text margin. Same here. Do a quick Google search. Hanging quotations or hanging punctuation. It's really easy to do, and it's proper technique for typographic technique. Excuse me. Excuse me. And then finally, back cover. And I want you to notice something. This back cover is not going to line up because what you have here is this. You have, this is the front cover. All right, notice where these are right here. So you would have that shape there and that blob right there should be over here, but they're not. They're not going to match up. You can clearly see it. So what I recommend, actually this is just the same piece that you've used on the front, you've used it on the back. So this right here is going to interfere with that right there. They're not going to line up and it's not going to look good. In the video, take a look at the video. I actually used this piece in my demonstration, so it's perfect for you because it'll give you a perfect example of how to set this up so that it does bring to it. This was a cool idea. Adding this type right to that net color, you almost can't even tell. That was a good idea. Good job there. Okay, that's what I have for you. And then don't forget, please don't forget actually the writing. Please update your writing because that's something I have to check for. And I know we're designers, we hate to write. I get that, but it's part of the job and it's part of the expectation. So I will be looking for the updated writing in your final written presentation for the work. All right, awesome job. Any questions, give me a holler, Ashley. I'll be glad to clarify. Thanks.